The Justice Department made a controversial decision. They decided to cut grants for crime victim services. This decision has shocked and angered many people. These cuts will impact many important programs. Domestic violence shelters and national hotlines are just two examples. These cuts come at a time when crime victims need support the most. The Justice Department claims these cuts are necessary to eliminate wasteful spending. However, many people are questioning this justification. They argue that these cuts will harm some of the most vulnerable people in society. The decision has sparked outrage and confusion. Many organizations are unsure how they will continue to operate without these vital funds. The cuts have left many people wondering about the Justice Department's priorities. The grant cuts have had immediate and devastating effects. The Victim Connect Resource Center, a national hotline for crime survivors, is facing closure. This is a direct result of a $2.8 million grant termination. The hotline provides a lifeline for people in crisis. Losing it would be a huge blow to victims of crime. Domestic violence shelters are also struggling. They rely heavily on these grants to provide essential services. This includes safe housing, counseling, and legal aid. Without these funds, many shelters will be forced to turn away survivors in need. This could put countless lives at risk. The cuts have also impacted programs that work to prevent crime. These programs often focus on early intervention and community outreach. By defunding these initiatives, the Justice Department may be inadvertently contributing to future crime rates. The human cost of these cuts is undeniable. Behind the statistics are real people struggling to rebuild their lives. The grant cuts represent a significant setback for the progress made in supporting victims of crime. The Justice Department claims that the grants were carefully reviewed. They argue that the cuts were made to eliminate wasteful spending. Attorney General Pam Bondi pointed to examples like a $2 million grant for national listening sessions. Another example was a $695,000 grant for a case study research design. Bondi deemed these examples as wasteful. However, critics argue that these cuts contradict the administration's stated commitment to supporting crime victims. They believe that the Justice Department is prioritizing cost-cutting over the well-being of vulnerable individuals and communities. The backlash to the cuts has been swift and fierce. A bipartisan group of House representatives wrote to Bondi expressing their concerns. They highlighted the potential harm to domestic violence and sexual assault survivor programs. Advocacy groups and legal experts have also condemned the cuts. They emphasize the crucial role these grants play in ensuring access to justice and support services. Despite some temporary reversals, the damage has been done. The uncertainty and disruption caused by the initial cuts have left organizations reeling. Many are now struggling to regain their footing and rebuild trust in the Justice Department. The Justice Department's decision to cut grants for crime victim services raises serious questions. It forces us to confront our priorities as a society. Do we prioritize fiscal efficiency over the safety and well-being of our most vulnerable citizens? The answer to this question should be a resounding no. Crime victims deserve our support. They deserve access to essential services that can help them heal and rebuild their lives. Cutting funding for these services is not only morally wrong, but it is also short-sighted. It ignores the long-term costs of failing to support victims of crime. We must demand better from our leaders. We must hold them accountable for making decisions that prioritize the needs of all citizens, especially those who are most vulnerable. The fight for justice and support for crime victims is far from over. We must continue to raise our voices and demand that our government fulfill its obligation to protect and support all its citizens.